Welcome everyone to the 20th Annual State of the Cities. We begin today's event with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi everybody, I'm Nicole Miller, President of the Berkeley Area Chamber of Commerce, and I will be your MC for today's program. Thank you all for joining us. I know it is a busy time for us all. We at the Chamber always look forward to putting on this event, as it is a great opportunity to hear from the people leading growth and development in our area and to learn what's happening, how it will impact you, and how you can be involved. And although we could not meet in person this year, I am thankful for the support of CMN TV, who is providing production and streaming services for this event so that we can bring it to you virtually. I'm pleased to see some of our current elected officials have joined us today. State Representative Robert Wittenberg, Mayor Dan Tierbrack, and Mayor Bob Paul, both of whom we will be hearing from later in the program. Also joining us are Mayor Pro Tem Bridget Dean, Berkeley Councilmember Steve Baker, Berkeley Councilmember Jack Blanchard, Berkeley Councilmember Dennis Hennon, Berkeley Councilmember Natalie Price, Berkeley Board of Education President Keith Lodgson, and Berkeley Board of Education Trustee Roger Blake. This year has been challenging for all, to say the least. With the pandemic, social unrest, and economic uncertainty, everyone has been adversely affected in some way in 2020. But there is hope, and the Berkeley area businesses and our community are resilient. The business community has had to adapt to providing its services and products in other ways and to seek out other funding sources to survive. We appreciate the support of the City of Berkeley and the City Council in passing resolutions like allowing outdoor dining, sales, and service areas. We are also grateful for the local residents in Berkeley, Huntington Woods, and the surrounding communities for continuing to dine and shop local. Whether getting carryout, shopping locally online, or dining and shopping in person, local businesses will not be able to survive without your continued patronage. For those living and working in Berkeley and Huntington Woods, you know what a hidden gem our area is and that our local businesses help to make Berkeley great. So thank you for your support, and please, as we head into the holidays and the colder months, keep shopping and dining locally. The Chamber, like our member businesses, has also been affected by the pandemic in 2020. And just like our member businesses, we have had to change how we do business and look for other revenue sources. Our Chamber Executive Director, Darlene Rothman, will be sharing with you more on this later in the program. Finally, before we go any further with the program, I have a couple of housekeeping comments. If you are joining us via Zoom, please note in the chat box you can download today's agenda with links to this year's honorees' websites. You can also find this information on our website, berkeleychamber.com. In addition, we encourage you to use the chat function to offer congratulatory remarks, comments, and questions. And now on with our program. First, I need to recognize our sponsor for today's event. Beaumont has been the sponsor for our State of the Cities for the past 3 years, and we are truly grateful that they agreed to sponsor this event again, even though we could not have it in person. Please watch this brief video from Beaumont.
At Beaumont, we're always ready for change. So when COVID-19 changed the way our community needed us, we created change to serve them even better. Change that made safer return-to-work programs with on-site screenings possible. Change that let us pivot quickly and care for the most COVID-19 patients in all of Michigan. Because the one thing that will never change is our commitment to you.
I am now happy to present the 2020 Best of Berkeley Awards. These awards are given to Chamber members who exemplify leadership, have passion for the Berkeley area, go out of their way to support local businesses, and are committed to making our community shine. Our first Best of Berkeley Area Award is for the Business of the Year, which goes to Cooper Glass Homes. The dynamic real estate duo of Dana Cooper and Lori Glass are not only passionate about helping people with that big life move, but they are passionate about giving back to the community. These Huntington Woods residents are very active in their community. Both are members of the Huntington Woods Women's League and are key planners of its annual home tour. They participate in the Huntington Woods 4th of July parade, helping to represent the Berkeley Chamber. In addition to participating in the parade, they purchase 3,500 flags annually, and with the help of a local Boy Scout troop, distribute them to the residents. They've been sponsors of the Huntington Woods Men's Club auction, have donated a bench to Scotia Park, raised scholarship funds and funds for women's charities, and helped put together Thanksgiving baskets for families in need. Annually, they put together the Great Pumpkin Giveaway in front of the Huntington Woods Lutheran Church, where families who attend receive pumpkins, cider, and donuts and family photographs. Unfortunately, like so many of the events this year, they were not able to host it, but I'm sure they will be bringing it back when it's safe to do so. Supporters of the Berkeley School District, they donate to the Berkeley Education Foundation Off to the Races and have both been active with band and various sports teams. Always ready to help where help is needed most, this spring they knew so many of the local restaurants and shops they love were hurting with the stay-at-home order. They on their own decided to create an awareness campaign, reaching out to owners asking them to hold signs up conveying messages of solidarity and customer appreciation. They compiled photos of this into a video which they marketed through their social media and email, encouraging others to support local and remember these small business gems that are part of our community. We are so lucky to have Dana and Lori Cooper of Cooper Glass Homes as part of our community, not only the residential community, but our business community too. I am thrilled to present them as Business of the Year. Please welcome Dana and Lori to the podium.
Thank you, Nicole, and thank you so much for this great honor. This has been a tough year. Not only has there been a health crisis to worry about, but many of us business owners have had to struggle every day just to stay afloat. As soon as we noticed how hard our local shops were struggling, we knew that we wanted to help. These weren't just any businesses hurting. These were our neighbors and our friends.
So we decided to make a video to showcase what Berkeley businesses have to offer and ended up showcasing so much more. In making the video, we saw Berkeley businesses helping one another, shop owners helping to promote other shop owners, businesses offering assistance to other businesses. We saw a community reaching out a hand and offering to help its residents. We saw strength and endurance that is unparalleled in any other city. It is this kindness and resilience that makes us so proud to be a part of the Berkeley community. We are proud to stand beside you and know that we will get through this together. Thank you so much for all that you have done for us, and we hope in some way we've been able to help you.
Berkeley is small, but it is mighty, and we will come back stronger together. Thanks again so much for this great honor.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dana and Lori. And now our next award goes to Business Person of the Year, who was nominated by Brett Heights of Such Great Heights Marketing. This year's recipient, Steve Johnson, is owner of Motor City Brew Tours, a company that offers bus, bike, and walking tours of local breweries. Due to the pandemic, Steve's business has been sidelined for most of the year, but this didn't stop him from finding ways that he could support local businesses and the community. In fact, we could say he increased his effort. For example, when the chamber member Such Great Heights Marketing wanted to hang blue ribbons on 12 Mile in support of Beaumont workers, Steve stepped up, helping hang these ribbons throughout the city. Steve is the creator, leader, and host of the Berkeley Local Podcast, a new way the chamber promotes local businesses to the surrounding communities. This new marketing tool would not exist if it wasn't for Steve. Already an experienced podcast host as creator of the Beer Tour Guy, he approached the chamber with the concept of Berkeley Local, a podcast spotlighting local businesses and their stories. He volunteered to take on all aspects of producing the show. He researched the most cost-effective way to produce the show, helps promote it, coordinates guests, and of course hosts it. He has continually tweaked it and found new ways of producing this podcast and had to do so pretty quickly earlier in the year when we can no longer use the studio. To date, he has produced 13 episodes, with more to come this year, and has started planning 2021. When a vacancy opened on the Chamber Board of Directors, Steve gladly stepped into this leadership role while still continuing to have an active presence on the Membership Marketing Committee. A resident of Berkeley, Steve loves being able to walk and bike to local businesses, and he is truly concerned about the well-being of these businesses. Creative, full of positive energy, Entertaining and humble are all adjectives that come to mind when you think and work with Steve. We at the Chamber are truly appreciate Steve for his dedication in helping people discover all our hidden gems of businesses in the Berkeley area. I present to you Business Person of the Year, Steve Johnson.
Thanks, Nicole. I appreciate the recognition. And I want to thank everyone involved with the State of the City's event and the whole Berkeley Chamber, and I am very honored to get this award today. Little did I know when I presented this idea to do a podcast where we were learning about local businesses in Berkeley about this time last year that we would be in the situation we're in now. And it just shows that the idea is just as important today as it was when we presented it last year. And I've had so much fun getting the opportunity to learn about the local businesses in Berkeley at a more personal level as we've been producing these podcasts over the last year. I look forward to doing many more of these and getting around to all the other Berkeley Chamber businesses throughout 2021. Again, I'd like to thank you for this award and appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations to the Best of Berkeley honorees. And now, the State of the Cities. Our first address comes from the Executive Director of the Berkeley Area Chamber of Commerce, Darlene Rothman.
Thanks, Nicole. I want to thank everyone for joining us for the 20th annual State of the Cities event. And it's different this year that we're doing this virtually and looking at a screen instead of face-to-face, seeing all of our business partners, our wonderful community leaders, and our community involvement. We're all here together in the spirit of making our communities exceptional. The Chamber is thrilled to honor Cooper Glass Homes as the Business of the Year. I've known Dana and Lori for many years and enjoy riding with them in the Huntington Woods 4th of July parade for several years. Somehow we always come close to running out of candy, even though they buy tons of it. We just get so excited when it's happening. They truly represent the aspect and the heartfeltness of giving back to the community and exemplifies it in so many ways. So congratulations, Dana and Lori. I'd also like to congratulate Steve Johnson. He's the owner of the Motor City Brew Tours and as the Business Person of the Year. As soon as Steve joined the Chamber, he immediately was participating in the marketing committee and has been an integral contributor to the growth of the Chamber's marketing concepts. We hope everyone is enjoying the Berkeley local program that Steve runs, and congratulations, Steve. Clearly, this has been a year like no other. We have shared important information from the state, county, and city level to have our businesses apply for much needed assistance. In the beginning of the pandemic, we were discussing what was open, their hours, and their mode of business. As the months went on and more businesses opened, we shared more and more postings to give the businesses as much positive exposure as possible. Roseanne Nicolai, the Chamber's Events and Operations Manager, is great at dispersing this information as soon as we receive it so that our members can benefit as soon as possible. She has also made all the arrangements for this State of the City virtual event and helping it run so smoothly. So thank you, Roseanne. It's encouraging to see most of the businesses being creative and figuring new ways to do business, especially in ways that they never imagined. We know this has been extremely challenging and costly, but we believe that our businesses have what it takes to make it through this pandemic. They have certainly taken lemons and made lemonade. One example of this is how Berkeley Common invested in their new outdoor seating area called the Uncommon Tiki Taco and Street Food Pop-Up. They created a fun and inviting outdoor area that truly strengthens the restaurant. The Chamber recently applied for an Oakland County grant, and we are thrilled to find out that we received it. Some of the funds will be going towards purchasing the chambers for the chamber PPE items for our members. We'll be evaluating the most needed items and the businesses with the highest need. We'll also be using some of the funds to increase marketing of our local businesses. Unfortunately, we could not hold our prominent events this year. We're already looking into how we can safely have them into 2021 and continue bringing people to the community. We're very hopeful that Art Bash, Berkeley Street Art Fest, and Pub Crawl will resume with excitement and excellence in 2021. We hope you have noticed the new marketing opportunities that the Chamber has created in the last year. Our second annual Berkeley Huntington Woods City Guide magazine was just hand-delivered to over 15,000 homes in Berkeley and Huntington Woods. Several local businesses are highlighted in this magazine, giving our residents an insight into the background stories and what's made them successful in our community. Many of these businesses have also advertised in the magazine to give them additional exposure. The Chamber has a new fresh focus on Berkeley, calling it Metro Detroit's Hidden Gem. Oftentimes we hear people are thrilled to discover businesses in Berkeley and they're surprised to just hear about them. Those of us involved in the community are often aware of these businesses and we assume everyone else is. And we want to make sure that more and more people keep finding these gems. So please keep sharing the stories you see on social media to bring more positive attention to the Berkeley area. The Chamber will also be encouraging our members to create 1-minute videos to share on social media to highlight interesting and memorable stories. The Berkeley Local podcasts, as Steve had just mentioned, have been attracting more people outside the community to patronize our wonderful businesses. We encourage you to listen to these podcasts and share them. You'll learn fun and interesting tidbits that will catch your attention and entice you to visit these businesses. Our businesses have been very diligent about making sure they follow health guidelines and thus keeping our COVID numbers very low. We're very proud of how they continue to create safe and inviting ideas on how to conduct their business. As the holiday season approaches, please remind others to look locally for gifts, give gift certificates to their favorite shops, restaurants, and services. And wouldn't a nice massage feel good right now to release some of the stress that a lot of us are feeling? Again, please continue to support the Berkeley restaurants as the temperatures change. Many added heaters, so if you dress warmer, you can still eat outside like I did yesterday. Continue carry out as this has been a major factor in the restaurant's success. The restaurants that have extended to outside seating have truly benefited. Again, we appreciate that the City of Berkeley acted quickly to allow for this to happen. It's been a game changer for them. Everyone involved in the State of the City's event has played a major role in keeping our communities afloat during this pandemic and helped create as positive a scenario as possible. These times have made us stronger than we could have ever imagined. I'm proud to work with all of you and admire the strength that you bring to the communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. All of us on the Chamber Board truly appreciate your leadership and hard work. And now let's hear from the Superintendent for the Berkeley Schools, Dennis McDavid.
As I begin, I want to thank the Berkeley Area Chamber of Commerce, President Miller, and Executive Director Rothman for all that they do for the community and for us. We also want to thank our communities, Berkeley, Oak Park, and Huntington Woods. It'd be tough to imagine getting greater support, and we appreciate all of you. I want to add our congratulations to our Business of the Year, Cooper Glass Homes, and to the Business Person of the Year, Steve Johnson. For both of you, your recognition is well deserved, and the district appreciates your partnership and friendship. Now to the state of our schools. For the last 8 years, I've been able to report at this event that the state of our schools is strong and getting stronger. I can report that again this year. Let me offer some insight. We are currently going through an experience no one in our lifetimes has ever had to endure. The world is facing a pandemic, and we're trying to educate our children in the face of that pandemic. In March, all the schools across the state were closed for in-person learning, and we had to pivot in a weekend to distance learning. Our teachers, administrators, staff, students, parents, and the whole community switched to online learning very rapidly and made the best of it in the spring. As we prepared for this school year, we began with a focus on how we could safely get our students back into school for face-to-face learning. As we neared a decision point in late July, we realized that there was very little solid information about schooling while trying to control the spread of the COVID-19, and we also had very little information from county health and local health departments. In fact, the nation's top infectious disease expert said in the summer, if schools open in the fall, it'll all be part of the grand experiment. With an absence of good data and with grave concerns about exposing students and staff to a virus with no known cure and for which the long-term effects were not known, we opted to start the school year online. This fall's online learning has been much more robust, much more organized, and much better delivered than in the spring. We had time to plan and develop those plans and work with our teachers to make it great. We've also had small groups of students in our schools since the early fall. Our Building Blocks program, which is our child care program, has been open since July. And some parents have told me that in this new environment, their child is thriving with the online learning and that they'd like us to continue this option in future years. Other parents have told me that their child is suffering from the social and emotional distance and from missing their teachers and friends. For all of us, parents, students, teachers, staff, and administrators, this has been the most challenging year we can remember. This may be the most challenging year in the history of schools. We now have the experience that transmission of the virus is very unlikely to occur in schools where we're wearing masks, doing social distancing as much as we can, and where strong hygiene is in place. With the school board's approval, we are now headed to the next phase of the school year. In less than 2 weeks, we'll transition those elementary students who want to return to a half-day schedule while we maintain a virtual elementary school for those who would like to stay in that environment. We're also planning for our secondary students to return to school yet this year, and more details on that plan will follow. What we know is that our plans will only be successful as all of us in the community, acting as a community, in doing the things we know that we can defeat this virus. Things like wearing masks, washing your hands, social distancing, and doing all those things that the experts require of us. So we are now entering one of the most challenging parts to one of the most challenging school years in our history. It's important at this time to remember who we are as a community. This community is, and always has been, strong, supportive, and inclusive. It's a community that does wonderful things for our kids and our neighbors and our schools. It is a thoughtful, kind, and caring community that always assumes the good and best intentions in one another. And as I said, this is the most challenging time we may ever experience as a school community, and it's at these times when we all need to continue to pull together, exhibit that kindness, grace, and supportiveness for which we all have become known. And as challenging as this school year has been, there is still great news to share. For the 9th year in a row, we have been named the best community for music education. Berkeley High School was again named a U.S. News and World Report magazine Best High School in the country. BHS also received a College Success Award from GreatSchools.org. Deputy Superintendent Larry Gallagher was named the Michigan Business Official of the Year. John Barth received his 3rd Meridian Award for Innovation and for the 3rd year in a row. Paul Yaocheng won a Michigan School Counselors Association Administrator of the Year Award. Rogers student Liv Corey was named a Baskin-Robbins pint-sized hero for her artwork and donation to charity. 3 Berkeley High School students starred in a virtual opera last year. Our drama students are currently in production for their first ever virtual fall play. Berkeley High School created a drive-in movie experience for students. All of our elementaries have done wonderful things for students, and teachers are reaching out and recording book talks and podcasts. Teachers and administrators have also been delivering laptops, books, and other essential materials to student homes. This year we adopted Second Step, a social and emotional curriculum to help all of our students stay connected and feel supported. We are moving forward with sinking fund work, and we'll be adding a new cafeteria to Anderson Middle School. And the good news goes on and on. In the face of this once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, our schools continue to work hard to support, reach, and uplift all of our students and our community. And as always, we thank all of you, the Berkeley Chamber, and the whole community for your continued support. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent McDavid. We appreciate the administration, teachers, and support staff in having to provide a quality education in a new way. We know it hasn't been easy and appreciate your care for our community. And now I would like to welcome Huntington Woods Mayor Bob Paul to give us an update.
Thank you, Nicole, and thanks to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event again this year. I'm coming to you today from Huntington Woods City Hall via Zoom. Despite not being together in person, it is nice to see everyone. Congratulations also to Steve Johnson of Motor City Brew Tours and Huntington Woods owns Dana Cooper and Lori Glass from Cooper Glass Homes on their awards. Last year, I focused my comments on one major uprising and one major report. This year, one major pandemic is driving the state of not only Huntington Woods, but every city, school district, state, business, household in the United States and across the world. So as we are trying to cope with this pandemic, I would like to focus my comments this year on some of the good things that have happened in Huntington Woods in spite of COVID-19. Before I get to that though, I did want to wrap up my comments from a year ago regarding the one major report. As I told you last year, a volunteer citizen group, the Long Range Budget and Financial Committee, presented their final report, and the city was in the process of enacting their recommendations. The centerpiece of that report was to ask the community to support Public Act 345 proposal for funding public safety pensions that would allow us to free general fund dollars to address infrastructure issues, including sewers, road reconstruction, and an aggressive road maintenance program. On March 10th, the voters approved the proposal by a 67 to 33% margin. Shortly after that came the pandemic shutdown. Although it changed many of the norms in our city, it inspired the hardworking staff to develop new and interesting ways to engage the community. Some truly great programs developed from this opportunity. Hundreds of porch pictures were taken to commemorate no work, no salons, no schools, and everyone being home at the same time for a picture. Our senior outreach coordinator, Jennifer Furlong, kicked into high gear contacting seniors to make sure they had the resources they needed by guiding them in the right direction or just lending a listening ear. The library zoomed into action with weekday story time, and many classes were offered by both the library and the rec using Zoom. Then we ramped up our 4th of July events, including a commemorative t-shirt, house decorating, the pet pageant moved to Zoom, Family Super Night evolved to make a pie via Zoom. We pre-recorded the annual speeches and awards in the park and added that to the virtual July 4th parade. We tried many ideas to keep the parade tradition alive, from a reverse parade to changing the route to a more controlled area, but in the end, the virtual parade was deemed the safest. With help of many residents adding their own short clips, all compiled by Judy Olds, We now have a video that truly captures the spirit of our community during these unusual times and is available from a link on the city website to YouTube. The rec continued programming all summer, including going the social distance, a 50K virtual run, a bicycle walking clue hunt, virtual fruit camps, and backyard camping with Boy Scout Troop 1292, to name a few. The library has been used more than ever with increased online resources such as Hoopla and Overdrive, Mango Languages, Freegal, Ancestry.com, Canopy, and now Tutor.com. Residents can now renew online, apply for and renew library cards, and enjoy the extensive curbside pickup service that allows access to the entire library network system of not only books and other reading material, but all media that libraries have available for circulation. Online Zoom programming includes art programs, informational programs, book groups, and movie discussion groups. The library also spearheaded the Chalk the Walk that was visible throughout the community as we were all stuck at home and taking to daily walks around the community for fresh air and a change of scenery. Inventive programming has continued into the fall with events such as the Full Moon Dog Walks, I Spy, Family Photo Scavenger Hunt, a second offering following the success of the first one over the July 4th weekend, Family Parking Lot Bingo and PJ Party, and Parking Lot Bingo for the 60-plus crowd. Ask the Trainer for all those pets that have been adopted during the COVID shutdown, Teen Photo Rally, Pumpkin Carving March, and Story Time, another edition of Clue, Bingo and Zoom Together, Zingo, and plans are in works for a drive-through Santa and Story Time, as well as a 60-plus holiday lunch delivered to their homes. We're continuing to offer services for our seniors, from high-dose flu shots, free Zoom instructional classes, to 15-minute visits with Colette and Jen. To commemorate the first 6 months of COVID, Colette Newton put together a photo book that documents so much of what happened in Huntington Woods during this period. It will be available at City Hall and the library. It's a historical look through the summer of 2020 that will be treasured for generations to come. We have had a couple of personnel changes during 2020. Our longtime DPW supervisor, Marty Wozniak, retired in August, and crew leader Kevin Wayne was promoted to his position. Our much-loved children's librarian, Joyce Crom, had a great opportunity open up for her with the Mount Clemens Library. Her innovative ideas and joyful personality will be missed, especially by the children of the woods that enjoyed her many storytime programs and the Read Woke program featuring a social justice book. We wish her all the best and congratulate Mount Clemens for their fine addition. We have hired former Brandon Township Children's Librarian, Tanja Bryce, to take over the position. We continue to work on becoming a redevelopment-ready community, and in July received the MEDC's baseline report with a 76% alignment of best practices, and are working on the remaining issues. Maybe it's a shame that it took a pandemic and the death of George Floyd to get us to work on an anti-racism plan. But we're here now, and thanks to the hard work of some dedicated residents, the city administration, and the city commission with the lead of Commissioner Michelle Elder, it is a beginning and a good framework to build on that we will keep in the forefront of our decision-making process for years to come. I always mention a few awards that we received during the year, and this year, Money Inc. has listed us in the top 20 best places to live in Michigan. Barben ranked us number 2 for best cities for fit lifestyles, and Homestacks also gave us a number 2 rating for best places to live in Michigan. The one I'm most proud of, and is a testament to the citizens of Huntington Woods, came last week from the U.S. Census Bureau. They reported that for cities of 5,000 or more in population, Huntington Woods had the highest percent of participation in the 2020 census in the entire United States. On a similar note, don't forget to vote next week if you haven't already, and let's keep that voting crown in Huntington Woods. I know everyone is getting tired and pandemic fatigue is setting in, so hopefully this will help you refocus on some of the good things that we have done in our community to deal with these trying times. Keep smiling, stay safe, keep wearing those masks and social distancing. I'm proud to state that the future of the great city of Huntington Woods is strong and resilient. Thank you.
As a resident of Huntington Woods, I can truly say I am grateful for the city staff and our elected officials for helping make Huntington Woods such a great place to live. Next, we will hear from the City of Berkeley. Presenting today will be Mayor Dan Tierbrack and the Berkeley Downtown Development Authority Executive Director, Jennifer Finney.
Welcome back on both coasts and now in the Midwest. Governors are forming regional coalitions to figure out how to
continue with the investigation into the death of George Floyd and the new details about
At the same time, demonstrations have broken out across the country, particularly in the Midwest, by protesters demanding states loosen their coronavirus restrictions and allow people.
Well, welcome to our first ever virtual State of the Cities. Now, I know it's not ideal, but we're going to be spending a little more quality time with our screens today. But I promise you, it's not all bad. Instead of having to stare at me for the next 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes in person, the Chambers had me produced all the way down to about 10 minutes. And instead of it just being me at a podium speaking, we're going to take a tour of the city to learn about everything that's happened in the past year. So if you're ready, you're going to come with me. Oh, hey, I didn't realize you were here. Well, it's a pleasure to see you here, because I want to tell you about a lot of things today, and we're going to start here in the Historical Museum, and then you're going to see we're going to go to some other departments and find out a lot more about what's happened in our city over the last year. And when we talk about history, 2020 certainly will be remembered, at least unlike any other that I can recall in my lifetime. Every day we create a little piece of history. And here in Berkeley, we rely on the Historical Museum and our Historical Committee to preserve those pieces. The museum houses all kinds of artifacts that reflect on what Berkeley was and hopefully tells us a little bit about what Berkeley is going to look like in the future. This includes new this year an exhibit of photos that were found in slide decks between 1958 to 1963 that have never been viewed before, the installation of the city's oldest sidewalk slab dating back to 1915, the cornerstone from Berkeley School in 1919, and obtaining and digitizing the Berkeley Tribune from 1923 to 1925, and so much more, as you can see here. You can learn all about our history by paying a visit to our museum, which is located in our historic fire hall here. And a side note, the Historical Committee is currently striving to achieve a Michigan Historic designation for the place that I'm standing in right now. And as we rapidly approach the holidays, and you're in search of the great gift, you know that our Historical Committee always has you covered with one of our wonderful Berkeley Historic mugs, ready to go. Stop by and pick them up anytime. Now, we've got some other places to go, so I'm going to move this and we're going to head on out. Oh, hey, how are you? Here in the clerk's office, and as we've talked about already, a lot of changes happened in our departments this year as it related to COVID-19, but few were more impacted than the clerk's office, who was trying to plan 2 elections during a global pandemic. And probably the biggest change for the clerk's office was the demand for absentee ballots dramatically increased, especially when we expected really high voter turnout this year. In a normal year, we had about 2,000 absentee ballots, but in our August primary, there were over 4,700 absentee ballots, which is about 36% of our vote. And for the November general election, just coming up in a couple weeks, we're already at 6,200 absentee ballots, almost 47% of the total vote in Berkeley. And to make it even easier for folks to return those absentee ballots, our clerk's office partnered with our Parks and Rec department, and we have a separate ballot box outside of Parks and Rec so that voters can drop off their ballots there as well. Additionally, we want to make sure everybody had the opportunity to vote. So our clerk's office extended its hours before the August primary and before the November general election to allow people on nights, weekends, and even a drive-through option to come in and register to vote, to make sure that everybody had that opportunity. And our clerk and her department certainly did everything they could to preserve our democracy. But our clerk's office couldn't do it all by themselves, and there are some folks who helped out, and I really want to make sure I take an opportunity to thank them. First is the county. So Oakland County supported our elections team and poll workers by providing PPE for both the August and November elections, ensuring that not only the workers were safe, but also the folks that came to vote and they exercised their right to vote also felt safe. And lastly, but probably most importantly, I need to thank our resident volunteers that work at each of our precincts in the city. Our elections would not run nearly as smoothly without them, so I want to thank all of them for their time and for their service as well, because that's why our city operates the way it does. All right, with that, we are going to move on. Oh, hey, I'm here in the vault for a brief visit to our Finance and Treasury Department. Now, honestly, this is going to be one of my shorter trips because there were a lot of things that happened and a lot of questions that are still unanswered as it relates to Finance and Treasury. So not long after the shutdown, it was time for the Council's annual budget hearings. Still a lot of question marks. There were question marks. We don't know what the impact is going to be from the state, for example. We don't know what the impact on revenue is going to be from events that we had to cancel or activities that we weren't able to hold. But the city was able to successfully conduct our first ever virtual budget sessions. And we're actually doing our audit virtually as well right now. So when the unexpected happens, residents need to know that their city is there to help take care of them. And one of the things that our city did was being able to waive fees on water bills and your water and sewer bills to try to help folks out in any way that we could. And our Treasury continues to accept payments online or in person to try to make sure that the business of the city is continuing even in very, very uncertain times. Now with that, we're going to head off to... Well, you can see now here we are at our Department of Public Works. Although most of the city was shut down, a couple of our departments never stopped, and our public works staff is one of those groups. They upheld its pristine street maintenance, sanitation, and water and sewer services to residents and our business community. Additionally, we were still able to complete some big infrastructure projects, including our 12-mile road rehab project, which is right over there, which started in June, invested $2.7 million into the roadway. Additionally, the citywide road improvement program, which utilized the funds raised from the 2018 voter-approved millage, has begun. Many of you have probably seen or noticed the constructors' crews or the signs out and about the community at the 170 locations around town. Work is well underway and it's going to continue into the next calendar year. While it has left the limelight a little bit as far as the news goes, we are continuing our lead and copper water testing to ensure safe drinking water for all of our residents. Recently, we just submitted our latest round, of 30 test samples from residential sites, and we're awaiting those final lab results. The next step for the city include the beginning stages of the actual lead line replacements. Also, work began in October on the replacement of sidewalk slabs within the southwest section of the city. The city's covering engineering and administrative costs, but the property owners are responsible for the cost of the sidewalk replacement, which was bid out from the city to provide a significant discount to our homeowners. New to 2020, the city covered the full cost of planting trees in our public right-of-way that are going to be planted this winter. So residents will get to enjoy the new trees and the public green belt come next spring. I think that's all that's going on in our DPW. Let's move on to our next group. So here we are in the Public Safety Department, and this year has been a challenging year for law enforcement agencies across the country. While many of these challenges are not new, it has shown that there is still work that needs to be done. Our Public Safety Department is continuing to improve itself through de-escalation training, diversity, and implicit bias training. This training is an ongoing process and something we always continue to do as we work to build positive relationships with all members of our community. To date, our officers have completed hundreds of hours of additional training, and we participate in the voluntary National Use of Force data collection and currently have 0 incidents involving a fatality or a serious injury connected to use of force. We've also installed in-car cameras in all of our marked patrol vehicles and fire apparatus. We've updated our policies and procedures to be more explicit, to emphasize that de-escalation should always be used as the first option whenever possible. Public Safety has also welcomed many new staff members this year, including a full-time fire inspector PSO position. We have a new public safety officer. We have a new part-time FOIA technician, 3 new full-time dispatchers, and our shiniest new recruit, Tower 4, right here. We also have had some building upgrades, including implementation of fire inspection and pre-planning software, completely renovated the dispatch center, and we've expanded the fire hall because we need to house Tower 4 safely. All of the above contributes to our vision of working together with the members of our community to see our public safety department as allies in the struggle for a better and safer community for all. This vision has even given us a recognition as the 7th safest medium-sized city in Michigan by Advisor Smith in 2020. And this will continue as we move ahead into 2021, with professional development of all of our public safety personnel. Some other things we're excited about: the implementation of our K-9 program, which is something we've been talking about, the continued use of civilian staff for as many support functions as possible, the enhancement of technology systems to make the department more efficient and effective, and we have submitted to the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police Accreditation Program, which examines all aspects of our department's policies, procedures, management, operations, and support services. And with that, I think that brings me to a close here. I got to go somewhere else. I'll see you in just a minute. Oh, well, I didn't expect that. Well, sorry. Oh, you can see here we are out at the library, and much like the rest of the state, our library suspended in-person service on March 14th. But that didn't mean they weren't still providing the escape and magic that books provide to our residents during this pandemic. They expanded access to Hoopla and Libby, which are key digital resources. They added a new digital service, Canopy, for streaming movies and documentaries as well, and they shifted all of their programming to an online format. So they transitioned online story times twice a week, conducted summer reading program 100% virtually. They had online and take-home crafts for youth and teen programming. And since June 22nd, they've offered curbside service and local deliveries to Berkeley address as well. Now, it's not all just about books with our library. Our library staff, partnership with Parks and Rec and some city council members, made countless wellness calls to our seniors in Berkeley during the shutdown as well, just to make sure everybody was okay and to give someone to talk to if they didn't have anybody. Additionally, Rebecca Stout was promoted to full-time youth librarian, and the Friends of the Berkeley Public Library raised close to $2,000 to expand the library's anti-bias and anti-racist resources. The library continued to proceed cautiously into the end of 2020 and into 2021, but striving to continue to serve our community in the safest way possible while still providing access to all of the incredible resources that our library provides. Okay, now, that last transition was a little dicey. We're going to do this again. I'll see you in a minute. Here we are at Merchants Oxford Park to talk a little bit about the Parks and Recreation Department. As always, in the last year, we've had some phenomenal programming put on by our Parks and Rec staff, including our staple events like Winterfest, Mother-Son Dance, and my personal favorite, the Daddy-Daughter Dance. As I've noted numerous times already, COVID has forced us to adapt to a new normal, and that certainly includes our Parks and Recreation Department, which has had to evolve countless times over the last several months. Parks and Rec moved to virtual and open space outdoor classes and programs throughout the last 6 months as the community center remained closed. Virtually, with the help of our broadcasting partners at CMN TV, we've offered Zumba, PiYo, and senior fitness classes. We've also partnered with Oakland County to bring 3 family-centric activities in a safe manner to our parks this summer and fall, as well as some great scavenger hunts in parks around the county, including some right here in Berkeley. The community center has now reopened, but your experience inside will look a little bit different for the foreseeable future. In order to provide a safe experience, classes will be smaller, socially distant, and masks are required for participants and instructors. Senior transportation was on pause for about 3 months during the initial quarantine, but is back in action helping our seniors move around the community. Tot Lot will also be getting some enhancements with a new play structure in the spring of 2021. We certainly can't forget this thrilling development here, Oxford Merchants right behind me. Some folks, mostly on the internet, might not understand that this isn't just a splash pad, but will be so much more for our community, including updated recreational opportunities and further beautifying our community centerpieces. We've begun construction, as you can tell, and is expected to be completed early spring 2021. And finally, Parks and Rec is undergoing its 5-year recreation master plan. Now, since the spring,
we've held several focus group and community meetings, as well as a new community survey. The draft has been completed, and it's now available for viewing until mid-November. Okay, I think that about covers everything I need to talk about at Parks and Rec. Well, we're here on 11 Mile today to talk about the Community Development Department. Thus far in 2020, we've issued 316 building permits worth a total value of $7,286,000 some odd dollars. As everybody knows, COVID impacted the construction and development in our entire country, and Berkeley was certainly not immune to that. We saw a 31% decrease in building permits, a 51% decrease in commercial renovations, a 74% decrease in residential new builds. Now, make no mistake, it's been a hard year, but I'm confident in our city's resiliency and our ability to move forward to continue building and growing. Here are some of the big projects that we're very excited about coming to Berkeley. KinderCare on 12 Mile near Woodward, Aquatots on Coolidge in the former Farina's Banquet Hall. It's planned to include retail and restaurant space. A variety of businesses have also worked to improve their facades, and we're very excited for these facelifts to our community. Now, while the world may have stopped, our staff and planning consultants, Carlisle Wortman Associates, use this time to set our sights on how we can plan better for the future. So we jumped right into revamping our master plan with a really high level of community engagement, but with the usual COVID curveball. So we shifted gears and took more of a digital approach. We conducted social media polls, we sent out a citywide public survey, we held focus group discussions, and an 8-part webinar series with drop-in conversations and corridor walks along 11 Mile, Greenfield, East 12 Mile, and Woodward. We expect the master plan to be adopted in early 2021, and its adoption will impact the planning and zoning of our community for years to come. If you've been by our restaurants in the city, you've likely seen all of the outdoor dining that's popped up to support businesses during the last several months. City Council relaxed outdoor seating restrictions in an effort to support our businesses during the economic downturn. In fact, we extended our temporary relaxation of the ordinance until March of 2021. Holiday season is quickly approaching, so try to shop local in between those Amazon orders to help keep our local businesses thriving. Ooh. Wow. Well, unfortunately, we've seen some businesses go in the past year, but alternatively, we've welcomed several new businesses to our downtown as well. Despite the shutdown, it's been extremely encouraging to see our businesses adapt and create alternate avenues to interact through enhanced web design, contactless delivery and pickup, and expanding their business models to not only survive, but to thrive in our new reality. The DDA has supported our businesses throughout the pandemic under the leadership of their new executive director, Jennifer Finney. And who better than Jennifer to give you a full update on our DDA?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Finney, your DDA Executive Director. I'm one of your neighbors here in the city of Berkeley. I started this role in the middle of the pandemic. Yes, in the middle of this worldwide pandemic, but that didn't stop me from rolling up my sleeves and getting right to work. As you saw, our awesome mayor was riding a Mogo bike, which were installed in Berkeley this spring. We have 2 stations, one here on Robina South and one on Earlmont near the library. During the shutdown, the DDA worked tirelessly to help support our business community through marketing support, educating and assisting our downtown businesses about all the available loan and grant opportunities. We created free webinars, a COVID toolkit, and best practice guide. We also developed a crowdfunding and fundraising campaigns to help support marketing efforts in our business district. We partnered with the Chamber on a social media strategy to help bring more awareness to our downtown businesses. We worked with the city to relax ordinances for outdoor dining and selling. We also locally printed these Downtown Berkeley branded face coverings, which are at all of our businesses in the downtown district. The DDA hosted a socially distant ladies' night outside event in July. This was a 3-night event that helped to ring the cash registers for our businesses. This event was so successful, it sparked creativity among our businesses, and a lot of our downtown businesses are doing small-scale events. The DDA also held its first ever concert pop-up music series in the green space between Clark's Ice Cream and Oddfellows Antique. The DDA will continue to host socially distant events throughout the remainder of this year, including our famed Mayor Month. Please visit downtownberkeley.com to learn about all those event details The DDA is also proud to be accredited with the Main Street Oakland County. They've been able to provide additional resources and opportunities to help support our businesses during this time. We are very happy to continue that partnership. Lastly, the DDA is very excited to install the long-awaited wayfinding signage in the downtown district. So yes, come December, you'll finally know where to find free parking in downtown Berkeley. The DDA is here to support our business community, and together we are Berkeley Strong.
I'm reminded every day how amazing our community is, how resilient we are in the face of adversity, and how caring and compassionate we are even in times of political chaos, social unrest, and in the face of what will be one of the most defining moments in our history. But despite all of that, the state of our city is strong and unyielding. So please continue showing compassion to your neighbors. Remember to smile at others, even if they can't see it. Please vote by mail, in person with protection, whatever works best for you. And above all, please wear a mask, wash your hands, and listen to science. After all, winter is coming.
Thank you, Mayor Turbach and Jennifer Finney. The Chamber appreciates your support and our business community, and we love working with you to make Berkeley a great place to be. This concludes our State of the Cities and Best of Berkeley Awards. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Beaumont, and CMN TV for helping produce the show. And a special shout out to Roseanne Nicolai, our behind-the-scenes event coordinator, for bringing this year's virtual presentation of the State of the Cities to life. And before we go, real quickly, I just wanted to show you, this is the new city guide that just hit the streets this past week. So keep an eye out for it on your front porches. It's got a lot of, and keep it for the year. We've got a lot of great articles, coupons, and just information about our local city and our businesses. So look out for that. And please check out our podcast. Wherever you listen to your local from your podcast, just search for Berkeley Local. We have about 13 episodes out there. We'd love for you to hear them. On behalf of the entire Berkeley Chamber of Commerce, thank you for joining us and enjoy your evening.